Lyons, your time has expired. Senator Stoker.
Thank you, Madam Acting Deputy President. Well, wasn't that an interesting meander that demonstrated remarkably little understanding of the way that our federation works, or indeed the interest that all Australians, including the federal government, might have in provisions such as Section 92 of the Constitution, which provides, among other things, that intercourse between the states should be absolutely free. And for those who don't read the Constitution for fun, that means movement. The movement of people around this country, the movement of people and goods, should be absolutely free. To suggest that that's something of an indulgence that only a Western Australian might be able to engage in is itself a kind of novel interpretation of the way one might think about our nation's founding document. But in any event, there's no reason why our Prime Minister should be accused of just about any of the things that have gone in the speeches from those opposite. In fact, I think this is a prime opportunity to spend some time thinking about the achievements of this government in what has been a really difficult time, because COVID has created some enormous hardships for many Australians, and I think of the Queenslanders who've been in lockdown for the last week, and our family was just one of many who went through that experience. Sydney-siders and Victorians who are in a similar situation. It's an enormous hardship to be locked down, particularly for those who don't get paid on the times when they don't go to work. But the actions of this government have been what has been necessary to keep our economy alive through this time. And so it's opportune to reflect on the way that Australia's health and economic response has quite literally been world-leading. We've managed to avoid the kind of COVID-19 death rates that have been seen in the UK and in the USA. Those rates have been, in terms of the numbers of people who have passed away, around 50 times that experienced here in Australia. At the start of the pandemic, the Coalition introduced the largest economic support measure in Australian history, JobKeeper, that helped to keep 3.8 million Australians in a job. And that meant our economic performance has vastly been more resilient than any of the other OECD economies that have gone through this experience. And we are, this is quite significant, Madam Acting Deputy President, the first advanced economy to have more people employed in the post-COVID period than there were pre-COVID. Over 74,000 more Australians were in work in March 2021 compared to March 2020. Now, that's not to take away from the fact that recent disruptions will no doubt have their impact, but it shows the way that this government has done what's necessary to support Australians through the economic hardship of lockdowns, and we continue to do that because there are a range of new measures in place designed to help get Australians through this period. Our supports have never been set and forget in the way that those opposite might think. The new level of the COVID disaster payments and the income support payment recognises the significant impact that the Delta strain has had on communities, businesses and working people. The COVID disaster payments recognise that, and we've already processed more than 1.4 million of those, paying out more than $1.33 billion to working people in New South Wales, Victoria and South Australia. There's an income support payment, and all of this is there to help get us through the plan we are implementing to vaccinate all Australians in this country who want a vaccination. We're insistent on this being voluntary. We don't forcibly vaccinate people in this country, but we encourage it, and we think it is the responsible thing for people who are in the right health condition to do so, but we're going to encourage people to do that and to do it in the nation's interests.
Thank you, Senator Stoker. Senator Patrick.